Freight quotes aren't pulled out of thin air. However, if you've ever received two wildly different rates from the same shipment, you're not alone in wondering what's really behind those numbers. The truth is, freight rates are calculated based on a mix of factors. Some you can predict and some you can't. Unless you spent time behind the scenes, it can feel like you're always reacting to the market instead of understanding it. Whether you're shipping occasionally or managing dozens of loads a week, knowing how this works will help you make better decisions, avoid overpaying, and plan for fewer surprises. The most obvious piece of the puzzle for calculating freight pricing is how far your shipment needs to go and where it's going. However, it's not just mileage, it's lanes too. Some lanes are more expensive because there's not much freight coming out of that destination. That means fewer trucks want to go in, and you pay more to make it worth their time. Rural areas, congested cities, and remote job sites all impact the base rate, even if the miles are short. The type of equipment your shipment requires will determine the freight pricing. A basic dry van will be more affordable than a step deck, reefer, or air ride trailer. If your load requires climate control, lift gates, tarping, or oversized capacity, that narrows the pool of carriers and the price goes up. Specialized freight means specialized equipment, and not every carrier is qualified to handle it. The more specific your needs, the more selective and expensive the solution. Freight pricing is not just what you're shipping, it's how big and how heavy. Carriers charge based on space and weight. A load that takes up 10 feet of trailer space but only weighs 1,000 pounds still affects how they route the rest of the truck. Oversized or oddly shaped freight might require permits, escorts, or creative loading, all of which raise the cost. If your shipment needs multiple handling points, that's another variable to count for. Here's where freight pricing can get a little unpredictable. Supply and demand, seasonal shifts, and fuel surcharges all play into your rate. Around holidays or produce season, truck capacity tightens and prices go up. If fuel prices spike, so do transportation costs. Weather can also be disrupting routes and create ripple effects across the network. These outside forces are why we might see some rate this week and completely different numbers next week. Then there are the extra charges, such as accessorials, detention, and hidden fees that can affect freight pricing. If your shipment requires inside delivery, limited access, liftgate service, or time specific appointments, those are called accessorials, and they add up fast. If your driver has to wait more than a set window, you might be hit with detention fees. That's why I always ask up front about the pickup and delivery environment, because surprises at the dock usually mean extra charges later. Your freight rate depends on who you're working with. Are they quoting a real rate from a vetted carrier, or are they throwing out a lowball number to win your business? Some brokers build in a buffer, others operate on razor thin margins. If a rate seems too good to be true, it probably is. The lowest number doesn't mean the best value, especially if that truck doesn't show up or damages your freight. Freight rates are a reflection of everything that it takes to get your shipment from point A to B safely, legally, and on time. It's not just about distance, it's about risk, timing, market demand, equipment, and reliability. If you want the best possible rate, it's not about chasing the cheapest number. It's about understanding the full picture and working with someone who knows how to break down line by line.